Hi, this is me, Makalesi, and I'm going to do ET 101, the Pleiades. I got a lot of requests asking me to do the Pleiades, so I decided if enough people request me to do something, I'll go ahead and do it since I have subscribers and this is more for you guys, not just for me. So before I go ahead and talk about the Pleiades, I have to kind of tell you about a star constellation by the Pleiadians because this is where their origin state started. So in the Pleiadian constellation, what you had is you have these beings that look more Hindu or East African in their appearance. And what happened is when they looked East African in appearance, but what they did was they were very powerful that they can create their own beings. So one of the beings that the native Pleiadians created was more of a Nordic looking being, and that was more blonde hair, blue eyes. So what happened was they had these Nordic looking beings and they were more subordinate to their creators. And they basically lived on Pleiadians with other beings. And there was another being that they lived amongst themselves that was Sirians, and they go by name as Namin, and that is spelled Nanemin. And these beings are from Sirians. They're very benevolent, very peaceful, non-aggressive, ninth dimensional beings. And what happened was the Nordic Pleiadians basically took some of these beings, the Syrian beings' technology and their knowledge, and what happened was they kind of became their own force to be reckoned with because they took their technology. So then they became their own unit. What happened was eventually the Draconians came and basically had a fight over territory, wanted to conquer it with the Pleiadians. This caused many Pleiadians to lose their lives, about 10 million, and the Nordic Pleiadians decided they had to leave Pleiadians and go to another constellation, and that's how they found themselves in the Pleiades. Now in the Pleiades there's about 4 major planets there, but the ones that's very more populated with the Pleiades is called Aura, which is Earra. So they went there, and they obviously are some natives there that looked Mesoamerican, which are connected to the Mesoamerican gods here. But the Nordic Pleiadians stay there and set up shop, so then now they're known as the Pleiades. Now, the Mesoamerican Pleiades are more 5th to 6th dimensional, while the Nordic Pleiades are more 4th to 5th dimensional. But what happened was, because the Nordic Pleiadians took technology and took knowledge and didn't deserve it through trial and tribulation, they kind of hit a plateau in their evolution because they weren't really doing trial and error adversity to get evolution, so they hit a plateau. And also because of technology, they kind of have a rivalry with a lot of Syrians and the Anunnakis because they took those technologies that wasn't theirs. So currently there's more of an information war going on as opposed to physical war between the two parties. Now to take it down to Earth. Now the Pleiades kind of introduced themselves to Earth when there was the Lemurians and Atlantis set up. So Lemurians was obviously set up with the Nitirus, and the Syrians who implanted their DNA for evolutionary planet, and then you had the Atlanteans there. So what happened was the Pleiadians wanted to kind of introduce themselves to this evolutionary planet, and what they did is they kind of gave technology to the Atlanteans. And when the Nitirus and the Syrians saw this, they were very upset, and of course they were backing more of the Lemurians. A battle happened between the Lemurians and the Atlanteans, and of course the Atlanteans won. They had better technology, they were a lot more powerful, where the Lemurians were a lot more spiritually, and they weren't really as material as Atlanteans. So that happened. The Atlanteans won, but they were very beat up from the war, very worn out. But by the time they got worn out, the Anunnakis came. When the Anunnakis came, they had a battle with the Atlanteans, but the Atlanteans, just because they just got out of the war, they were defeated. So what happened was the Atlanteans lost to the Anunnakis. So what happened from there was a power move from Sumeria to Nubia to Kemet, and then that's basically what happened with the Pleiades. But if you go to current day politics, there's a lot of people, when they hear the Pleiadians, it's the most popular alien race because there's a lot of channeling come through. So it's the one that a lot of people know, but what a lot of people know is a lot of these channelings is not really positive because a lot of them are working in conjunction with the Draconians, who kind of don't want Earth, the evolutionary planet, to evolve. And the reason they don't want it to evolve is because they're scared that if we evolve, we'll evolve past them. Now remember, the Pleiadians had a plateau because they don't have their own technology. So what they do is they kind of fear the Nordic beings on this planet because the Nordic beings although because they're sealed in evolution and quarantined and mixing and acting and going through adversity and crossroads, they have the potential to actually go further or evolve past the Pleiadians. So a lot of them are kind of doing these channelings, trying to tell people about themselves, but they're also saying that draconians are bad, which there are some bad ones and there's some good ones. Now, not all Pleiadians are bad, but they're just a percentage of rogue Pleiadians. And you can usually tell these ones because they always refer to the Christ consciousness or Christ as being the most powerful prophet on the planet. So those are just some things to look after. I mean, they do refer to draconians and whatnot, but that's just basically something to pay attention to. Now, if you go into the cosmos, the Pleiadians are part of the Andromedan Council, which is more like the NATO of this planet on Earth, and they're also part of the Galactic Federation, which each major alien race has a seat on, which is kind of like the UN on this planet. Now, not all of them are bad. They're just like a good percentage of them that has their own agenda, maybe more for fear of not being able to evolve with us. But that's my quick introduction to the Pleiadians, where they came from, their interference with Earth, the channels that are here, some of their agendas. Not all of them are not bad. Some of them are bad. Some of them are good. Some of them are just working. And most of them, it's not that they're bad. They're just more so, just worried about their evolution and fear that they would be subordinate, so to speak. So that's my introduction. If you have any requests, please let me know, and I'll see you in my next video.